Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tearing down a stubborn, widespread myth. You know that dream? Waking up with total control over your time, no jarring alarm clock, zero panic about bills, just absolute freedom? Well, most of us are totally conditioned to think that lifestyle only kicks in once you're already a millionaire. We're taught the money has to come first, right? And then the lifestyle follows. But today's source material, it absolutely flips this entire concept on its head.
So let's just jump right in with the core question here. What if the habits come first and the money actually follows later? To really wrap our heads around this, the material introduces us to two 25-year-old guys, Alex and Ryan. Think of them as basically starting on the exact same starting line. Identical jobs, identical salaries, and they both have that exact same dream of financial freedom. But as we're about to see, the way they actually spend their days, it literally couldn't be more different.
Moving into Section 1, The Morning Divide.
Look at this. Before the sun is even up, the foundation for their futures is already being poured. The contrast in their intention is just wild right from the get-go. Alex is up at 5:30 a.m. And look, he's not doing this because waking up early is some magic wealth button. He's doing it to grab those quiet hours for absolute distraction-free focus. He hydrates, totally ignores social media, and just jots down 3 simple goals for the day. Ryan? He completely loses his morning. He rolls out of bed 30 minutes before work, immediately grabs his phone, and just doom scrolls messages and videos. He rushes out the door, already stressed and already feeling behind.
And that divide? It just keeps widening right after breakfast. Alex spends a quick 20 minutes reading, and he's not breezing through a fantasy novel. He's diving into business, psychology, and leadership. Learning negotiation one day, maybe marketing the next. Ryan, on the other hand, tells himself he's going to read someday. But let's be real, someday usually just means a dusty pile of books on the nightstand that never get opened. Whenever Ryan gets a free minute, easy entertainment just wins out every single time.
Which brings us to this brilliantly simple truth. Income often follows knowledge. Seriously, 20 minutes of reading a day might not feel like a game changer on a random Tuesday, but you repeat that hundreds of times, it changes the whole game. All that compounded knowledge eventually lands Alex a massive promotion, practically proving that continuous learning is a direct driver of your earning potential.
All right, Section 2, The Midday Momentum.
So how does that morning discipline translate to the 9 to 5? Well, the mindset gap becomes blatantly obvious at work. Ryan does the absolute bare minimum, right? He ticks off only what's required of him and literally counts down the minutes until he can clock out, all while passively daydreaming about being rich one day. But Alex takes those extra steps. He asks questions, he looks for ways to optimize company systems, and he actually volunteers for the projects everyone else dodges. Because of that, his manager notices him, his team trusts him, and he becomes a magnet for new opportunities instead of just sitting around waiting for them.
Then lunchtime rolls around. By just taking a bit of time to prep meals at home a few days a week, Alex saves maybe 10 to 15 bucks a day. Doesn't sound like a fortune, right? But stretch that out over a standard work year, and we're talking about nearly $3,500 quietly tucked away. Meanwhile, Ryan doesn't even blink at those small expenses. A coffee here, delivery there. Those impulse buys feel totally harmless in the moment, but combined, they are silently draining his income.
But here's the kicker. Saving that cash isn't the final step. Alex actually takes those daily lunch savings, that 10 or 15 bucks, and he invests it month after month, year after year. He gets this core principle of wealth building. It is not about getting rich overnight. It's about stepping back and giving time the chance to do the heavy lifting for you.
Which leads us to Section 3, Evenings and the Unexpected.
When 5 p.m. hits, the gap between these two practically turns into a canyon. Ryan goes home totally drained, crashes in front of the TV, scrolls endless videos, and makes these empty promises to himself that he'll start grinding tomorrow. But you know how it goes. Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month. Alex doesn't just immediately check out. He spends just 1 hour building something for himself. He levels up a skill, tweaks his resume, or chips away at a side hustle. He realizes a hard truth. Relying on a single source of income is incredibly fragile, but your skills, those stay with you forever.
And then, boom, life throws a massive curveball. The company announces layoffs. Ryan goes into full-blown panic mode because his entire survival is tied to that one single paycheck. If he loses the job, he loses everything. But Alex? Sure, he's concerned, but he quickly realizes his daily habits have basically built him the ultimate safety net. He's got savings, he's got investments, fresh skills, and professional connections. Even if he gets let go, he has options. It really all boils down to this quote right here. Successful people don't eliminate uncertainty. They prepare for it. You can't control the economy, and you definitely can't control corporate layoffs, but you absolutely can control your own readiness.
What's super fascinating here is that Alex's preparation isn't just about his wallet. It extends right into his physical health. He makes time to exercise, not to look like a fitness model, but because energy matters. He knows a healthy body supports a sharp, productive mind. Ryan, ironically enough, always complains he doesn't have time to work out, yet he's burning hours every single week on forgettable stuff like doom scrolling. It's a tough pill to swallow, but Ryan's lack of time is really just a lack of proper priorities.
Let's zoom out a bit for Section 4, the compounding effect. This is where we really see how those tiny 1% daily improvements stack up. Remember, at age 25, they started with identical salaries, but fast forward 5 years to age 30, and something amazing happens. Alex actually starts his own company. All those ordinary, disciplined days prepped him for an extraordinary opportunity. Ryan is just completely stunned and assumes Alex got lucky. Jump ahead to 35, and Alex has a portfolio of investments, a thriving business, and the ultimate prize, total freedom over his own time.
Of course, Alex knows it wasn't blind luck at all. It's because consistency often beats intensity. He pulled this off by fiercely protecting his attention. He didn't chase every shiny new trend or say yes to every random distraction. He understood that every time you say yes to a distraction, you're literally saying no to your long-term goals. He just kept putting one foot in front of the other, day in and day out.
And that consistency doesn't stop when the sun goes down. Even at night, Alex is winning. He writes down 3 things he's grateful for, which keeps him grounded and stops him from comparing his life to everyone else's highlight reel. Then he lays out his clothes and preps his workspace for the next day. By being intentional at night, his mornings become totally frictionless. Ryan? He decides everything on the fly after he wakes up, and those tiny morning delays compound into a chronic habit of stress that pretty much ruins the start of his day every single day.
Finally, Section 5. Start your tomorrow today.
The most beautiful takeaway we can extract from this explainer is that you absolutely do not need millions of dollars in the bank to start acting like someone who is building wealth. Here is your literal daily blueprint. Wake up with a purpose. Read just 10 pages a day. Save a little cash by skipping the takeout. Spend an hour learning one new skill. Exercise for 20 minutes. Spend less than you earn, invest the rest regularly, and aggressively protect your time. The whole point here is that self-made millionaires change their habits way before the success actually arrives, not after.
So I'm going to leave you with a really powerful question to chew on. If your future depended entirely on today's routine, what would you change before tomorrow morning? Because your future isn't built in one dramatic, cinematic moment of luck. It is built quietly, intentionally, one morning, one decision, and one habit at a time. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I challenge you to start building that future today.